While the Bloomberg campaign preparing for a very tight race ahead of his first public debate performance in more than a decade. According to an internal memo obtained by Axios, quoting, it will be all but impossible to stop Bernie Sanders from getting to a plurality or even majority of pledged delegates. The bottom line is that if Biden, Buttigieg, and Klobuchar remain in the race, despite having no path to appreciably collecting delegates, they will propel Sanders to a seemingly insurmountable delegate lead. With me now, Guy Benson, the host of The Guy Benson Show and a Fox News contributor, and Doug Schoen. He's a Bloomberg 2020 pollster and a Fox News contributor. Welcome to you both. Since you're the numbers guy here, Doug, I got to ask you, does Bernie have an insurmountable lead here?
Not that I see. I mean, I look at all the polls that are available, plus our own. And look, Bernie's ahead. That's clear. But this is a dynamic race. Mike Bloomberg has made up about 15 points in the last 10 days to 2 weeks, and he's within striking distance of the frontrunner. Tonight's a big night, and I don't count him out at all, and I think we've got a great shot on Super Tuesday.
Sounds to me, Guy, like you've got the Bloomberg campaign saying, hey, Buttigieg, Biden, Klobuchar, let us go at it. Let me and Bernie go at it here.
I'm really struck by the arrogance of that, as a matter of fact. When you hear those words, when you read this memo, here is a man in Mike Bloomberg, and look, he has every right to be in this race, and he's been very effective spending $400 million of his own money and blanketing the TV landscape with his ads. But for him to show up, having never even stepped foot on a debate stage until later tonight, his name hasn't appeared on a ballot anywhere. These other candidates have been busting their rear ends with their campaigns for months or the better part of a year at this point, and now he decides that he's going to Bigfoot this whole thing and say, hey, look, here's my memo. We got to stop Bernie. It's got to be me. Get out of my way. I'm not sure how that will sit with the supporters of these people who've been at it for a very long time.
Yeah, and of course, Bloomberg is in trouble with more comments tonight. You know, he had a couple of issues over the past 3 or 4 days. This time it's about transgender comments. I'm going to put this on the screen for you. Bloomberg saying, quote, if your conversation during a presidential election is about some guy wearing a dress and whether he, she, or it can go to the locker room with their daughter, that's not a winning formula for most people. He said that in 2019. The Human Rights Campaign president released a statement saying, quote, transgender women aren't he, she, or it. They're women. LGBTQ people are human and deserve to be treated with respect. Words matter, and Mayor Bloomberg should apologize for using language that demoralizes and dehumanizes members of our community. You have the stop and frisk minorities comment. You have the farmers comment, Doug. Seems to be like a little bit of a pattern going on here.
Well, look, Mike on issues with LGBTQ employees at his company and city employees in New York has been inclusive and progressive. He has been supportive of a woman's right to choose. He has done more for African Americans in terms of having an agenda of change. So while some of the words may strike you as less than ideal, he's apologized for some. Some, I think, have been taken out of context. But the man and his record is extraordinary. His program's inclusive and progressive, and I think he's got a great shot.
Let me give Guy the last word here. I don't think you know, Michael Bloomberg hates farmers either, Guy. I mean, that's not the point. It's the whole idea. It's not the optics, because it's really the ear thing, but it's one of those things where it just doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound presidential. The
pronoun it, a guy in a skirt. Look, I actually am not part of the language police, and I think people jump down each other's throats too quickly when it comes to phrasing in certain terms and that kind of thing. But this is the party, this is the reality that Michael Bloomberg is stepping into now that he's running for president as a Democrat. There is this woke subculture where you have to stay in line rhetorically, and if you don't, then you should recognize it and apologize. This sort of feels like the latest stop on the apology tour for Michael Bloomberg. He joked in 2017 he'd have to do it, and so he is.
And here he is. Guy Benson, Doug Schoen, good to see you both.
So
Thank you. Well, President Trump set to land any minute now in Phoenix ahead of a rally there later this evening. We are told that hundreds of supporters have been camped out throughout the day, and we will take you live there coming up next.